And the craziest fake news of all is something called Pizzagate.
Instagram algorithm exposed promoting pedophile networks in massive investigation, video sales, preteen sex menus, in-person meetups with underage boys and girls using emojis such as a map and a cheese pizza.
A mainstream journalist and close friend of John Podesta, who bragged about debunking Pizzagate, has been arrested on a slew of sickening child sex charges. Slade Somer, editor-in-chief at The Recount and friend of former Hillary Clinton campaign chair John Podesta, was arrested for raping multiple toddlers and babies. Despite the mainstream media claiming that Pizzagate is nothing more than a debunked conspiracy theory, numerous mainstream journalists and figures connected to the elite paedophiles have been arrested in recent times for the very crime they supposedly debunked. The mainstream media are desperate to cover up this news. On October the 17th, during a search at Somer's residence in Otis, the Berkshire Law Enforcement Task Force confiscated a phone containing hundreds of child pornography images and videos. Among the disturbing contents, the task force found a video allegedly recorded by Somer of a minor being raped, according to the Berkshire Eagle. Somer's collection of homemade child porn shows kids as young as 3 or 4 years old. But it gets even worse. Along with thousands of depraved photos, police also found text messages that were sent by Somer that shared details on how to kidnap and rape a child. Those troubling conversations, according to Berkshire Assistant District Attorney Marion Shelby, added a level of extreme cruelty to the case. Shelby told The Wrap that this is one of the most egregious cases she's ever seen. Remember, this was one of the mainstream journalists who was heavily pushing the lie that Pizzagate is a debunked conspiracy theory. This is the level of corruption and evil we're dealing with in the mainstream media. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Slade Somer's arrest is the network of mainstream media creeps that has been exposed. As Liz Crokin reported, one of Slade Somer's last posts before he was arrested is a retweet from fellow Pizzagate denier and paedophile protector Ben Collins. Somer was also celebrated by BuzzFeed in a now-deleted article for talking sexually with 4th grade children. But perhaps the most damning aspect of the whole story is Slade Somer's connection with John Podesta, the man at the center of the Pizzagate scandal. Bill Gates has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on funding mainstream media outlets all over the world, turning them into propaganda mouthpieces for the globalist agenda. And Gates is one of Epstein's well-known super VIP friends. For anyone who hasn't been paying attention, the elite are heavily into pedophilia and Satanism.
And I have been put through this Pizzagate bullshit for a year, which has been totally debunked. By the way,
he's wrong. Pizzagate has not been debunked. Not when the people who did the debunking turned out to be the pedophiles in on the game. And Slade Somer isn't the first mainstream journalist arrested on child sex charges, after previously boasting about debunking Pizzagate. James Gordon Meek, a 10-year-old veteran reporter at ABC News, who also bragged about debunking Pizzagate, is facing life in prison after being convicted of a sickening array of child sex crimes.
ABC News anchor who debunked Pizzagate faces life in prison for child rape, raping small children, seeking to rape more children. But the feds say go easy on him. The actual sentencing recommendation is life in prison for child rape, but the feds, they only want 15 years. ABC News reporter who bragged about debunking Pizzagate faces life in prison after being convicted of sickening array of child sex crimes. James Gordon Meek, think you want that guy to babysit your kids? James Jordan Meek, who had worked at ABC News for nearly 10 years until an investigation into his child crimes, sex crimes, led to his arrest, was convicted of federal charges of transporting and possessing child sex abuse material in July. And again, he reportedly, and it's confirmed, raped children and shot video of it.
CNN producer John Griffin, who produced numerous segments debunking Pizzagate for Chris Cuomo's show, was sentenced to 19 years in prison in June for a slew of sickening child sex crimes in Vermont.
A shocking report out of the Southern District of New York, where a prominent journalist in the tech industry has been taken into federal custody for crimes against children. One America's Jack Posobiec breaks down the charges against Peter Bright.
Peter Bright was until recently a tech journalist who worked for Ars Technica and Condé Nast. Bright also had an extremely active presence on social media, especially Twitter, tweeting under the name Dr. Pizza. Dr. Pizza frequently tweeted anti-Christian, anti-Republican sentiment, including extreme left-wing hatred of President Trump and Trump supporters. He also participated in numerous left-wing hate mobs targeting the families of conservatives such as Jack Posobiec. In May, Dr. Pizza was arrested by the FBI for federal child sex crimes. According to charges filed in the Southern District of New York, Dr. Pizza connected with an undercover FBI agent through a website called Kink D. The agent was posing as the mother of a 9-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl. Dr. Pizza reached out to the post and started suggesting that he should meet the children for sexual acts. The text messages Dr. Pizza sent are highly disturbing, and in them, he also claimed he was currently engaged in a sexual relationship with an 11-year-old girl. Dr. Pizza described his child molestation acting in extreme detail. He was arrested after attempting to meet the undercover agent. However, due to his public posts, many are asking how much he did to hide his child sex crimes. On his Twitter page, he described himself as pervy. In tweets, Dr. Pizza wrote, "I think that age-based rape laws are stupid." He has a long history of public tweets that disturbingly show support for other forms of child abuse. And more disturbingly, One American News obtained archives of an internal message board from his company, Ars Technica. There, journalist Dr. Pizza advocated for the legalization of child pornography and the decriminalization of those who view child porn. He wrote, "All child porn legislation is illogical and unnecessary." He engaged in extreme debates with Ars Technica colleagues about why child pornography should be legalized. What is further shocking is these posts date back 20 years to 1999. You won't find any reporting about Dr. Pizza and his arrest on CNN or the New York Times. Now there are further questions for Ars Technica and its parent company Condé Nast. Why was this advocate for child porn legalization allowed to continue at the company for 20 years? Were his posts investigated by Ars Technica or their parent Condé Nast? And if Dr. Pizza was reported to the company, as he once claimed on Twitter, what investigation by the company took place, if any?
And it's not just the reporters and producers, it's the executives too. The newspaper that led the way in covering up the Pizzagate scandal was run by the man who helped protect notorious UK paedophile Jimmy Savile. Mark Thompson, who was the New York Times CEO at the time, was previously Director General of the BBC. At the time, the UK's most prolific paedophile Jimmy Savile raped hundreds of children and murdered countless others while working for the BBC. He's now chairman and CEO of CNN Worldwide. When the idea was first floated that there was a massive paedophile ring at the highest levels of power, it was almost unanimously rejected by the mainstream media and the people alike. Nobody wanted to believe that such a deviant and degenerate collective could exist in the modern world, let alone in the United States. Yet as more evidence was released through WikiLeaks and the tireless research by the alternative community, the true sinister depths of the crimes of the elite began to materialize. The elite are far more evil than most people can possibly comprehend. This goes all the way back to the old Canaanite religions, where families would sacrifice their own children to the demon god Baal and Moloch. There is an anthropological encyclopedia of human sacrifice, the Golden Bough, which is 100 years old and very well known. Probably the most famous Satanist of all time, Aleister Crowley, once remarked that the most perfect sacrifice is a young boy of innocence and very high intelligence.